Listen, this Miguel Rojas news just dropped, and what came out alongside it is absolutely fascinating. We're breaking down the real story behind this signing, the future role he's taking on with the organization, and some other major updates around the Dodgers, including a very interesting comment from Dave Roberts about where the entire league is headed. There's a ton to cover today, and you're not going to want to miss any of it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I'm bringing you every single Dodgers update right here on this channel every single day. The off-season market is heating up fast, and we're right in the thick of it. Let's jump straight into the Miguel Rojas signing, because this is exactly what we've all been waiting for. I actually made a video about this a couple weeks ago, talking about how this was inevitable. It was just a matter of when it would happen. It was really about Miguel taking time to think through what he wanted for his future, and now we finally have our answer. Yesterday, the details came out, and it revealed why there was a delay in getting this done. Daniel Alvarez Montes broke the news saying that infielder Miguel Rojas and the Dodgers are in agreement on a one-year, $5.5 million deal. This will be Rojas's final year as an active player, but here's the really important part. Rojas will remain with the organization beyond 2025 in the player development department. That's huge. This tells us everything we need to know about why he was taking his time. He was legitimately contemplating retirement. When you come off winning a World Series, especially back-to-back championships, you start thinking about going out on top. But then you also think about the chance to three-peat, to make history, to be part of something only two other teams have ever accomplished. That's going to make anyone pause and really weigh their options. What ultimately sealed the deal was the Dodgers offering him that player development role. Knowing he'd stay with the organization regardless of whether he played or not was the final piece that helped him make his decision. And honestly, the opportunity to chase a three-peat was probably a massive driver in him choosing to come back for one more year. We also have to remember what Shohei Ohtani said to him after that Game 5 home run. Miguel talked about this a few days after it happened. He said after he hit that homer, Shohei was up next and popped out to left field for the second out. When Shohei came back to the dugout, Miguel was by the bat rack putting away his helmet, and Shohei told him straight up, "You cannot retire next year. You're playing with me for 10 more years." That definitely had an impact on Miguel's thinking. Seeing how much he's loved in Los Angeles, how clutch he's been for this team, knowing everybody wanted him back, getting to have a proper retirement tour where he gets to soak in the love from the fan base all season long, that's special. Regardless of how he performs on the field, we're going to show him nothing but appreciation all year because of everything he's done for this organization. And technically, Shohei is getting his wish because Miguel will be staying with the team for the foreseeable future in that player development role. So even after he hangs up his cleats, he'll still be around Ohtani and the rest of the guys helping develop the next generation of Dodgers. When you look at Miguel's stats, the culture and leadership he brings is honestly more valuable than his on-field production at this point. But the Dodgers are still going to give him opportunities to contribute because he's earned that. What stands out most about his game now is his defense more than his offense. His offense has had clutch moments, obviously, but defensively, he's still rock solid. Last year, he played pretty much equally across second base, third base, and shortstop. He started 49 games at second, 28 at third, 27 at short, pitched in 4 games, and even played 1 game at first base. He's a true utility guy, and at 36 years old, the experience he brings is invaluable, not just for what he does on the field, but for teaching the younger players who are joining this roster over the next few seasons. He gets 1 more year as an active player to show guys the ropes in real time, and then he transitions to player development where he can continue mentoring the next wave of talent. We've seen how good he is at that. Players gravitate toward him for advice and guidance. This has been a trend across baseball over the last couple decades where former players immediately transition into organizational roles after retirement and become culture leaders. Miguel Rojas is going to be a prime example of that. When you look at his Baseball Savant page, he's not in high percentiles for most offensive categories, but his fielding metrics are excellent. And honestly, I'd add one more stat that needs to be tracked. His clutch percentage should be at 100 because of what he did in Game 5. That moment alone deserves a retirement tour, one of the most legendary moments in Dodgers history during the best World Series in baseball history. Miguel Rojas completely changed the trajectory of that game and this franchise. We cannot forget that. His fielding is what really stood out in the postseason. That diving play against the Phillies, the awareness on the double play in Game 6, all of it showed why he's still so valuable defensively. And that's going to continue this culture shift into next season, no matter who the new players are or what moves the Dodgers make in free agency. Having legendary players with legendary moments like Miguel on the roster exemplifies what this Dodgers culture is all about and sets the tone for anyone who joins this team. Even beyond the culture aspect, Miguel's going to be an incredible backup option. We saw how useful he was last year playing every infield position. Whether Hee-Sung Kim ends up being the everyday second baseman or not is still to be determined. Free agency is in full swing, and there are still big names on the market. But having Miguel as an option at second, third, short, wherever you need him in his final season is extremely valuable. Fielding skills don't leave a player the way hitting skills can. His glove is still elite. So Miguel Rojas being here gives the Dodgers another year before some of those younger prospects who aren't quite ready yet make their way up to the big leagues. I absolutely love this Miguel Rojas signing. We all knew it was going to happen eventually. The question was just when. And now we have some insight into why there was a delay. Before we move on, I want to know what you guys think about this signing in the comments below. How big of an impact do you think Miguel Rojas will have on the 2025 Dodgers? And I don't just mean statistically. I mean the culture, the leadership, everything intangible he brings. I truly believe he's an incredible person to have around this team, and that's why the Dodgers trust him enough to move him into player development. There's a hidden value to this signing that goes way beyond what shows up in the box score. Drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to hear what you think. Now let's shift to something else that caught my attention. Dave Roberts made a really interesting comment about the future of Major League Baseball. He said he'd be fine with an MLB salary cap as long as there's also a salary floor. His exact quote was, "If you're going to suppress spending at the top, you have to raise the floor to make those bottom feeders spend money too." That's such an important point that doesn't get discussed nearly enough. When people talk about spending in baseball, they always focus on teams at the top like the Dodgers, Mets, and Yankees. But what about the teams at the bottom that are barely spending anything? You have organizations down there spending maybe $40 or $50 million total on payroll compared to teams spending that much on a single player. That's insane. It's insane that you can be such a cheap owner that your team isn't putting fans in seats and you're not investing any money into building a competitive roster. So having a salary floor is way more important than having a cap, in my opinion. A floor forces cheap owners to actually try. We know you can find incredible players on low contracts who end up being superstars. A salary floor would push teams to be more active and competitive instead of just pocketing revenue-sharing money. It's not the Dodgers' fault if a salary cap gets implemented. People love to blame big spending teams, but the real problem is owners at the bottom who refuse to invest in their product. If there's ever a cap, there absolutely has to be a floor to balance it out. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. One more quick thing before we wrap up. If you haven't already, you need to go follow Katie Woo on Twitter and The Athletic. She was formerly covering the St. Louis Cardinals and has now joined the Dodgers beat writing staff. Huge congratulations to her. She's an incredible reporter and writer. If you want all your Dodgers news and analysis, definitely follow her on X and check out her work on The Athletic if you have a subscription. She's going to be a great addition to Dodgers coverage. And, of course, we're covering everything Dodgers right here on the channel as well. That's everything I've got for you in this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have an amazing day, and let's go Dodgers.